Hi, my name's Barry Crampton. Today I want to talk to you about, it was a subject that came up a while ago. Obviously I've been discussing EVs and the effect they're having on the motor trade and why I'm against the way they're being sold. It brought up a lot of questions, mostly, who do you think you are? You know, what do you know? All sorts of stuff like that. And I cast my mind back. Over the years, or many years ago, I started writing a blog. And the car job, find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I touched on it yesterday. And the car job, actually, although when I first started, it was 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 at night, really, and probably most days 7 days a week. So it was a job where you had to make sacrifices, and probably the main sacrifice I made was family. And you'll see it these days. Salesmen, I would imagine the divorce rate amongst salesmen and people in the car trade is just horrendous. Find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And when I look back at the times that I've had in the motor trade, and at times I've been able to live like a multi-millionaire, you know, and my old boss, a guy called Eric Hamer, used to say, Crampton, he doesn't want to be a millionaire, he just wants to live like one. He also said I was burning my candle at both ends and I'd be dead by the time I was 30. And here I am at 66. So I must have slowed down somewhere along the way. I mean, when I worked for Mercedes, the holidays that I won, one was a weekend a long weekend in New York for Thanksgiving. And we were picked up by stretch limos, taken to the best chop house one night. And there was, they'd hired actors to come with us. And one guy was dressed like John Travolta, and I remember his name now, he's called Vinnie Spaglietti. That was his character name. And then there was Miss Brooklyn, and I was lucky enough to have Miss Brooklyn sat by me all throughout the trip. I mean, it was just fantastic. The best restaurants we went to. Then we went for a cruise up the Hudson River on a super yacht. It was just, you know, it was just absolutely fantastic. Now, most people don't get to do stuff like that. And as I was saying yesterday, the motor trade is a great leveler because if you're any good at it, you can make serious money. You know, you get people going to university and getting a degree and you know, being out of work, by which time you can already have made enough to buy your house or do whatever you want before they've even got out of university. So it is a great leveler. Although I've enjoyed it immensely, what have I done? I actually used to, when I started working for myself, before that I was at Mercedes-Benz, and my sales administrator always used to say to me, because I wasn't happy working there, I wasn't happy wearing a suit and I wasn't happy kind of being told what to do. And I always said to her, my ideal work situation would be working out of a porter cabin, duster in my pocket, walking around the cars, you know, just giving them a polish down again. And that's what I ended up doing. So I opened my own little garage just on a pitch, 8 or 9 cars. And I did my office out. My office was lovely. I had paintings of whales on the, it was like sanctuary, paintings of the whales on the wall, Italian leather settee, which was beautiful, air conditioning, I had air conditioning fitted, I got surround sound for music, a toaster or a sandwich toaster, a coffee maker, and it was home from home. I had Sky TV and a flat screen TV in the corner. It was just home from home on a little car pitch. It was fantastic. I got all this ready. The first day My very first customer came in the office and, you know, lovely couple, but there was an air of despondency about them. And it shouldn't be like that when you're buying a new car. It should be a fun thing. And that's the trouble these days. It's not fun anymore. You know, the likes of Auto Trader, trawling through all that garbage, you know, that's put in front of you. And it's not fun. In the old days, you used to go around the pitch, and I think it was 6 or 7 places before you'd buy cars. So Saturdays and Sundays, some days, you know, you were juggling. If you were in the showroom or on the pitch, you'd have 4 or 5 couples looking at cars. And it was, you know, the energy that created, it kind of hyped you up. Whereas now, you're sitting here waiting for a live chat or the phone to ring. So it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different ethos. You go in showrooms now and they don't really expect to see you. If you just want going unannounced, they're all there on Facebook or chatting each other up. Certainly, you feel like you're imposing on them. You know, you feel like you shouldn't be there. If you go in the Audi showroom in Preston here, I've never felt so unwelcome in all my life. So my first customer at my garage, chap came in the office, his wife was still stood outside. Yeah, so I said to the guy, I said, look, you know, you're here buying a car, you don't seem very happy. Is it something I've done? And it transpires that he'd come out to buy a new car to cheer his wife up because they'd just lost a 21-year-old son to brain cancer. So that was my first sale, really, at my own business. And, you know, I couldn't bear, I'm not your typical salesman, I couldn't bear to profit from these people's miseries. So the profit I made, I worked it out and I donated it to charity. When times were good, I donated money. I don't want to meddle, by the way. I'm not. I don't want all those EV Shills to suddenly think, oh, Baz isn't so bad after all, and go easy on me. I'm not looking for that. Have I done any good in the motor trade? That's the thing that's haunted me, because I wrote this Wednesday the 31st of October 2012. Already I was kind of becoming aware about the ICE car situation and pollution and what I myself could do about it. So, there's all sorts of other things. I donated to, well, breast cancer, leukemia, water aid, children's cancer, the local place, Derry House, guide dogs, the Duke of Lancaster, the Duke of Lancaster regiment. When they were fighting, apparently they hadn't even got body armour. So I donated some money to them. I also supported a little boy in Ghana from the age of 6, right up to him leaving school. A little lad called Bismarck. You know, you start, like anything else, they draw you. And it's like car sales. It's like car sales, but for little children in Dangme West, it was, Africa. Car sales, you sell somebody the car, and then you try and sell them a warranty, and you sell them minor collision damage, alloy wheels, and it's all that. So they send you a picture of a cute little lad, and then the next thing is, you know, the village is short of school books, we're building a new school, we need desks, we need chairs, goats, I think, at one stage. And as and when I don't want to be a millionaire. Money means nothing to me at all. You know, it just doesn't. It never has done. If I have money, I'll spend it. I supported this little lad right up to the time of him leaving school. When I wrote this blog here, it says, have I done any real good, or did I just create one gigantic carbon footprint with all the cars I sold and all the electrical items that I've used in my office? But the thing is, every time I try and do something good, it kind of backfires. When I was a kid, I used to dread Christmas because I knew what was going to happen. Me and my sister, we'd get our presents, we'd get our new presents, we'd open our presents, and then all the stuff that we had before, my dad would parcel up, and then we'd go to the local children's hospital, and then we'd give the people at the children's hospital our old toys. Now, when you're young, of course, you don't realise, but as you're getting a bit older and you've grown accustomed to things and you like things, I used to hide my stuff so my dad couldn't get it and you know, give it to these children that were worse off than ourselves. One thing in particular was I had a pedal car, and I loved this pedal car. We used to live in a close, and my mum used to know where I was at which friends because I used to park my pedal car at the side, get out my pedal car, go and see my friends, you know, like a kind of a little old man. It was my favourite toy. Even though I was too big for it, I couldn't get it in anymore, I still didn't want to give it away. Now, I always said what I should have done was, you know, I was in the motor trade there and then. I didn't want to give it away. I didn't want somebody else to have it. I wanted to keep it myself. So I should have put a price board in it. I should have started there and then, put price board in it and sold it, and then perhaps got a bigger car. Years and years later, I was working at Mercedes-Benz. And one surefire way, when you're selling a car, the idea is, do you want a cup of coffee? Yes. So you get them the hottest cup of coffee that you can possibly get. You know, it's piping hot, so they can't drink it. It's too hot to drink. And basically, you've then got them. That's the idea. You get there's all these little tricks that car salesmen do that they think are clever. And, you know, to make sure customers stay. There's a pendle system where, you know, there's stories of throwing keys on the roof so the customer couldn't go, parking a car behind their part exchange. Oh, I'm sorry, the mechanic's gone out and he's got the keys in his pocket. Come in the office, I'll make you a brew. You know, by the time the mechanic comes back, you've sold them a car. Used to take tax discs off, all sorts of stuff. Now, I found that really, really cheesy. You know, I found it underhanded and a dirty trick, almost like they're selling EVs now by telling you lies. But I had a great trick. Two things: children. I don't particularly like them. I think children are like elephants. I like elephants, but I don't want one of my own. Same with kids. Far too selfish. But when anybody came in the Mercedes garage with children, we had this range of electric cars. Children's electric cars. They were fantastic. I wish I was a child with these because, you know, there's me pedaling like crazy when I was a kid. The children of rich people these days, they drive around and they already had an electric car. Back then, the kids were driving electric cars. You know, no ice cars for them, they were electric. And a great way of, well, first of all, if you didn't sell an ICE car, if you didn't sell a Mercedes car, I used to sell electrics. I was already selling electric cars then, because the first thing I'd do is get the kid, because you didn't want them screaming, mummy, mummy, you know, daddy, you're trying to do a deal and the kid's there going, oh, I'm fed up, I want to go home. So you've got to occupy the kids. Get them, here's an electric car, Quentin Jr. You go drive around the showroom for a bit while I stitch your mum and dad up into a new Merc. And it was great. Now, you could also use it as a close. If you buy this car today, I'll chuck the electric car in for Tarquin Jr. And even if they said no, if they said you could guarantee They couldn't get the kid out of that car to get out of the showroom. The kid was, no, I don't want to go home. No, please, I don't want to go home. I want to drive this electric car around the Mercedes showroom. So it was fantastic. Anyway, I was promoted and I became sales manager. And I was driving around in Mercedes-Benz. I was going on fantastic holidays. One thing that does really upset me, I don't like to see children suffer. I don't like these programs where these water shortages and things like that. And when you're selling things, there's a lot of luck involved. You can just ring at the right time and get a sale. And this was shortly after Band-Aid. A lot of you won't remember Band-Aid, but one of my favourite records used to be Who's Gonna Drive You Home by the Cars. And this was the soundtrack to one of the most harrowing videos I've ever seen in my life. I can still remember it now. It's horrific, and the money that Band-Aid raised, and the good certainly they should have done. So a couple of years later, I found myself as sales manager. I'd answered the phone when I was a salesman to this lady from the Children's Hospice. She'd rung up every year just towards Christmas. They have a raffle and prizes that are donated. They raffle off and the money goes to the Children's Hospice. So she rang and asked if we could donate a prize. And I immediately thought of these electric cars because honestly, you can't get kids out of them. They're fantastic. So I said, just a minute, just let me put you on hold. And I run upstairs to ask my boss. So my boss used to really annoy me because he was basically in a kind of boys club, and if any of his mates wanted anything, or any of his mates asked for anything, oh yeah, and it would come off my advertising budget, my advertising budget. He was the DP, I was a sales manager, I've got an advertising budget. A percentage of all the cars I'd sold came out as house charges, which go into your advertising budget. And as I say, his mates, oh yeah, we'll do that, we'll sponsor that. And lending them cars to go and watch, lending them 7-seaters to go to watch the rugby, pretending it's a demonstration. And it used to really annoy me. So I goes up and I said, boss, I've just got the lady on from the Children's Hospice. She's asking for a prize to donate for the children's Christmas raffle. And I thought about an electric car. And he said, no. I said, it's for children, it's for a great cause. No, I think we need to save the advertising budget. Okay, so goes downstairs, takes her off hold, and I says, yeah, I'll drop it off. I've got the exact thing for you. I'll drop it off. But don't give me any publicity. Just raffle it off. I don't want any thanks. I don't want any publicity. I don't want any letters. So then I went straight to the parts department, and whenever you put a demo, a PDI, you put what you want on it. And the guy in the parts department, really, really good guy, Paul. And I told Paul was a nice lad, his dad, lovely, he worked there as well. And I said, look, Paul, I want to give this, I'm just trying to remember what we called the boss. But anyway, so I said, I've had a children's hospice on, I want to give them an electric car. Sorry, the boss says no, I want to hide it. Can you book it onto my demonstrator, and then I'll pay. I'll buy it. I'll pay for it as soon as we get it. So I delivered the car to the Children's Hospice, and about 2 weeks later, it's all quiet, all hush. I told them I didn't want any publicity yet again. 2 weeks later, my boss comes to the door of my office and he's got a magazine. Do you mind telling me what this is? This is a full page. This electric Mercedes brought such and such a thing for the children's charity, kindly donated by us, when my boss had said no. Anyway, this magazine was circulated all around the area where I was sales manager, and we got a lot of customers coming in as well saying, you know, oh, that's a fantastic thing to do, you know, really. And it got us a lot of good publicity. So it eventually became my boss's idea and I got my money back for the car. That was a bit of good. I also, people think I call electric cars. I don't call electric cars. I call the hype around them. Electric cars are fantastic. They absolutely are. People like, you know, I keep mentioning people like Colin, who are so arrogant, they can't see anybody else's point of view. They think they know better than Volkswagen, Nissan, BMW, Mercedes, Bentley today have pushed back their electrification. But he thinks he knows better. And that's what gets on my nerves. People like Mark, who, and the other EV chap, apparently, I believe somebody who I've never heard of has either mentioned me or made a video about me. I don't care. I don't care. If you think I'm lying, you know, if you think that I can get somebody to produce a story in a magazine or information and then use it, like Miliband, hey, get independent advice on something that he's published himself. You know, that's not me. Electric vehicles. I've got a Citroen Ami. As soon as I saw it, I thought that'll be ideal for me. And it is. It's absolutely fantastic. I've mentioned it before. It's that everybody should have one. Everybody should have a Citroen Ami for doing the local journeys. It costs about £1.50 a week for me to run it. It's cheap to charge. And it costs £8,950, I think. If it lasts 2 years, it will have saved me the money on fuel that I would put in my Range Rover. And it's also saved the diesel particulates that come out of my Range Rover. There you go, I've said it. The pollution that comes out of my Range Rover. And go some way to making amends for all the cars I've sold over the years. However, my Citroen Ami wasn't, when I say it's ideal, it wasn't ideal. In the winter, it's unusable. In the summer, it's brilliant. Well, it's too hot. But in the winter, it's unusable because it steams up. If you get wet, it steams up. And Webasto, when I got it, I realised I would only be able to use it. You couldn't really use it. It was dangerous when it's wet because you can't see through the windows. And I got in touch with Webasto and explained to them the problem. And Webasto very kindly sent me a diesel heater. And since I've fitted it, you know, people going, oh, you fitted a diesel heater into an electric car. Huh, what an idiot. My diesel heater has got a 5-litre tank. I've been using it with my heater fitted for God knows how long. It's used about that much from the top of a 5-litre tank. My Range Rover would have used that much starting up. It cost me, well no, Webasto sent me the heater for nothing to fit, to see if it's, you know, to see if it can be done. It can be done, and we made a great job. And I can control the heater. I can even control the heater from my phone. In fact, I'll just show you. Car's at the garage now. Let me just let's just do that. Record. So I can operate it from my phone. My phone here. There we go, look. Just move that along. Citroen Ami, open Citroen Ami. Thermo, oh, there you go. I've got leisure battery in it too. Heater off at the moment. Click heater on. Confirm action, okay. There you go, that switched my heater on. So from anywhere, I can switch my heater on. Warm the car up outside. If it's snowing, I can warm the car up outside. That car now is, well, I'll show you where it is as well. If I just go, let me see, where are my cameras? Eyasu there. So I'll go there, click on the garage, wait for that to come up, turn it sideways. Oh, blooming heck. I've come home in it. It should have been there. It should have been there. It's actually outside. So, so my heater, that was a bit of a poor demonstration, wasn't it? So, am I aware of the climate crisis? Yes. Do I want to do something about it? Yes. Do I think electric cars can do something about it? Yes. Do I have an electric car? Yes. Do I want to run one myself? Yes. Electric cars are ideal for me, but they're not ideal for everybody. And until they are, they won't catch on. They won't catch on by distress selling them. All that will do is lead to distress in the motor trade, distress for the people who've bought them when they try and get rid of them. You know, it has to change. And these people, these shills, honestly, they are clueless as to what's coming, to what they're creating by telling lies. It's just, they're just going to kill everything. So why do I not like certain people, EV shills? Certain people who I see them as mercenaries, really. It doesn't matter who they fight for, so long as they're getting paid. That's how I see these EV shills. I see them as nothing. I see them as lowlives. They would rather you lose your savings and then make £5 from an energy contract, or promote something and get paid for it and cost you your life savings. Tell you one thing that's totally untrue and lead you into buying something that's unsuitable for you. As you're a car salesman, you know, you'd do the same if you were in their position. Well, let me tell you, when I was at Mercedes-Benz, I hadn't long become sales manager, and the Mercedes SLK was launched. And I was sat in my office, and two guys came in, threw a brown paper bag, rolled up brown paper bag on my desk, and said, that's for you if you let Mr. I still remember his name now, I won't say it, we'll call him Mr. D. That's for you if you let Mr. D have the first SLK. And I knew what was in it, but I don't like people thinking they can buy me. People can't buy me, as I've perhaps said in previous videos. Money means nothing to me. It really doesn't. I just don't give a shit about it. I said, well, thanks very much, but I've already had my dinner. And they both looked at each other and then cottoned on. You know, they thought that I thought they'd brought me some McDonald's for my dinner. And he went, no, there's £10,000 in there in cash. It's yours if you let Mr. D have the first SLK. I thought, do I look like the type of person who can be bought. In all my years in the motor trade, the amount of bribes I've been offered for part exchanges. In fact, I'll do a blog about another incident. And yeah, the amount of money, you know, if you take 500 quid less, sell it me 500 quid less, I'll give you 100 quid in cash. So basically, what they want me to do is take 100 quid for doing my firm out of 500 quid. You know, not good. And the type of person who would do that, and you know, and it's all over the motor trade, honestly. It's absolutely rife in the motor trade. And don't think I don't know, because I've worked with lots and lots of people, and I could tell you lots and lots of stories. But anyway, I just said to these people, look, you know, although I did make the decision, I said, oh, I don't make the decision. And I knew basically that they were trying £10,000, but if I refused and they thought I could sway it, then the alternative wouldn't be as nice as spending 10 grand in cash. Let's put it that way. So I kind of said, look, you know, all the orders have already gone in. They've gone into a head office and they're assigned from there. I've got no say in it. So I'm awfully sorry, but no. And, you know, the funny thing is that my boss's best mate, he ended up getting the first one. How'd you work that out? Mystery, isn't it? There you go. Have I done any good in the motor trade? I'll leave you to ponder it. Do I want the world to be a better place? Of course I do. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.